Hello everybody, Kirby Sora, back again with part 2 of, probably it's going to be 3 parts of the Terra Crit World Record Route tutorial. Getting back into the run, we just finished the Trinity armor fight, so we've got one more boss to handle here in Radiant Garden. That's going to be Braig. So let's go ahead and get things moving. Here, you can do a little bit of movement where you go into a D-Link to drop straight down to the ground. Used to be the case that we could go into Ven D-Link there and get some extra slide dash movement, but we don't use Ven D-Link anymore, so you can just move with regular dashes. Pardon me. Here in this room, there is a Fira chest, or Fyra, depending on how you prefer to pronounce it. We're gonna have to do a pretty big shop a couple worlds from now, and grabbing this chest can just make it all that much more likely that you'll have enough money to afford all of the things in that shop. I usually skip this. It's usually fine. Having said that, I have absolutely lost runs that probably would have been record otherwise, so I don't know. You can make your own choices, but this chest, as far as money safety goes, that Fira can be really helpful. Alright, headed into Braig. The main strategy here is we want to maximize the damage that we do to Braig with our Ignite casts, and also to maximize the amount of damage that we're able to do by deflecting his bullets. And there's a couple of, like, interesting and unexpected ways to make that happen. If you're experienced with the game, you probably know that Braig can shake off things like, can shake off all sorts of commands, but specifically in this case ignites, basically whenever he wants to, which can be, you know, a pain, since that's how we're doing most of our damage. But there are a couple of situations during the fight where Braig can't shake off the Ignite, where the Ignite can't whiff, and I'll discuss those here, as well as just giving like a general overview of the fight. So we're going to guard 2 bullets here from the nest. Now he's going to appear in the arena. He's going to teleport around a couple times. You can sneak in an Ignite here if you're quick about it. Just like that. And now we're going to watch what he does. So there's 2 things that he can do at this point. He can either stay on the ground and shoot 1 volley's worth of bullets at you on the ground, or he can go into the air and do several volleys. The maximum is 4, the minimum is 1. We want him in the air as for as much time as possible, but we don't actually have that much control over that. But one thing that we can do, whenever Braig shoots bullets, he'll shoot like 1 wave and then follow it up with a 2nd wave. If we're close to him, we're only going to get a guard off. He's only going to be able to fire off 1 of those waves before he teleports again. But if we take a step back, we'll be able to deflect more bullets. There's no guarantee that those bullets are actually going to hit him, but in the cases where they do hit him, it does pretty massive damage. So that can be of tremendous benefit to us. Unfortunately, it also comes with risks. If we're pretty far away from Braig, he can teleport and sort of while Terra is mid-guard, he'll turn his body, but because he turned his body, he'll then get hit by a bunch of bullets in the back. And just to be straightforward about it, like, that can kill you. If you don't want to take that risk, just keep a pretty close proximity to Braig. Not like super close, but relatively close proximity to Braig. Otherwise you are in a little bit of danger. I mentioned earlier that I like to get as many soothing crystals as possible for HP boosts. This fight is the reason. The more, I mean, I guess this is obvious, but the more HP you have, the safer it is to go for those risky strats. So just as a reminder, we have 2 HP boosts out of a maximum 3, so we'll see what happens here. All right. All right, and now he's going to transition. You can see the animation has already kind of started. He's going from the air to the ground. That is one of those times where Brig cannot shake off an ignite. Also, when he's going from the ground to the air, that's another time where he can't shake it off. So I'm going to go ahead and pop an ignite off right now because that can't whiff. Now he's going to do a charging laser. He'll always do that at this part of the fight. Because I already have an ignite on him, I can just immediately Thunder Surge into him, and that will cancel that attack out, and we'll be totally safe. And then you can hit him a couple times. It's random when he recovers from that. He can stagger like he just did, or he can break out of it, so just pay attention to that. The next thing that's going to happen is he's going to do that ground volley of bullets. Whatever he didn't do in the first phase of the fight, he will now do here. So if he'd done the ground bullets before, we would be looking at air bullets now. And we're just going to deflect those. And now he's going to do... This attack is really nasty. He's basically going to run around in a circle and fire a bunch of bullets at us. What you want to do is you want to jump up in the air and just fire off an ignite, or if you don't have any ignites on cooldown, just use a Magnera. And there we go. This fight's going pretty well so far. That, by the way, that last ignite is one of the ignites that can whiff. If it doesn't whiff, you'll only have to deflect 1 bullet from the nest, but if it does whiff, you'll have to deflect 2. So now he's going to appear in the arena again. We can get a quick ignite off. And he's back in the air. You can get a cheeky ignite in there. It's random, but you can go for it if you're feeling lucky, I guess. Oh, shoot! Okay, so I thought he was going to do ground bullets there. He should have done ground bullets there. I'm not 100% sure why he didn't. So, yeah, just watch out, I guess. But he's about to die. I just have to deflect 1 bullet, and there he goes. One other thing to know about this fight that didn't come up in this particular example, because he didn't start with ground bullets. If that does happen, you know he's going to be going from ground to air after you cancel the charged laser attack. So after you do the Thunder Surge for that, you can do a hit Thundara, and as long as he staggers, as long as he's still staggering by the point you get to that Thundara, you can fire off an ignite and know that it's going to hit him in that transition from ground to air, and that's another one of those places where it can't whiff. Similarly, at the end of that phase, when he's going from air to ground, and you know the roundabout is going to come after that, it can actually be better to put the ignite on him at that point when he's going from air to ground than it is during the roundabout, because the air to ground ignite is a guaranteed ignite, but the roundabout ignite is not. And if you're quick enough with it, if you cancel the roundabout with a magnet after having successfully ignited him a couple seconds before that, you'll still only have to deflect 1 bullet from the nest. But it is pretty tight. So yeah, that's Braig. Braig is a really, really difficult fight. It is a pretty luck-based fight since, you know, most of the ignites we're putting on him still can whiff. I was very lucky in that attempt. None of them did whiff. But yeah, it's a luck-based fight. You can lose a lot of time there. You can also die very easily, especially if you're doing the riskier stuff. Okay, headed into Rumble Racing, or Kingdom Carts as we like to call it. The first thing I'm going to do here is, as I'm like approaching Chip and Dale, I'm just going to switch back to the second Magnera. It's going to help me. It's just something I like to do for myself. That's the command that I want to have queued up for the next force fight encounter that we're going to have in the next world. Alright, let's just dive into Rumble Racing. My honest-to-God recommendation at this point for this is that you watch somebody else's tutorial for Rumble Racing. I am very bad at Rumble Racing, as evidenced by the fact that I just missed the acceleration. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people will say that there's a joke that the run is invalid if you don't finish Rumble Racing in under 2 minutes. I very seldom do that, and I have had record a bunch of times. So, you know, it's not that big a deal if you suck at this. But, you know, make your own judgments on what is worth spending time practicing. For me, this is not worth spending time on. One thing that you do want to be aware of, though, is that you really don't want to get hit by the twisters. That can actually put you in a position where you'll lose the race. And if you lose the race, you have to do it again. And that's just completely a reset. There's no point in continuing if you lose Rumble Racing. Unfortunately, this is not, like, a great demonstration of the way that this is supposed to look because of the fact that I missed the acceleration. So, you know, like, once again, just watch someone else's tutorial on this one. I will not pretend to be an expert on Rumble Racing. I guess one thing I will say before this is over is you want to make sure you're playing on a profile that has completed 2 stories but not a third, because you'll get to a bunch of cutscenes won't play if only 2 campaigns have been finished. I was a little worried I was going to get hit by those twisters. Alright, as you can see, I'm like well above 2 minutes, so ha ha ha, the run is invalid, or what have you, but it's all good. Alright, now we're headed into Deep Space. We do Deep Space before OC in this route. Not a lot to say about this jelly swarm. You just want to kill them, I guess. It's pretty difficult to control Terra. You wouldn't think so, but it's very easy to go in a direction that you aren't expecting to go here. You want to kind of camp the areas that have the most amount of unkilled jellies. You can kind of tell. But also, that fight's not really that big a deal, so I wouldn't sweat it too much. It's easy to forget that there's 2 cutscenes before this forced fight. So here in this forced fight, surprise, surprise, it starts with a wave of floods. What we're going to do is we're going to target the flood that's closest to us and then dash past it. That'll be 2 dashes. And then pull them all up into a magnet. We need to kill at least 3 of them to spawn the next wave. So we'll attempt a Magnet Thunder to do that, and then we'll go into Aqua D-Link and we'll continue from there. There we go, we got them all. And before you go into Aqua D-Link, actually, you can target these guys just so you can like have a good angle or a good target for your magnet. Go back into Aqua, Magnet, Thunder, Mind Square, go out, Magnet, Thunder, Surge. Sometimes one of those, I actually don't know what their official name is. I call them robots, the little spindly things that can shoot lasers at you. Sometimes one of those robots doesn't get into the last magnet. You have to kind of like hunt it down at the end of the fight, but it's usually not a problem. Now we're making our way to Sparky. I'll talk about Sparky in a minute. Sparky is a very frustrating fight at this point. Here we can get up here just by using a shot lock. It's a fleeting crystal here. Definitely get that. And I want to queue up my ignites for Sparky. Okay. So once Sparky is in his DM phase, he's going to try to go into the turrets and do his DM. It's like a 45-second long DM that you can't damage him during at all. And luckily, or perhaps unluckily, there is a way for us to skip that by kind of getting him to get stuck on one of those turrets. The way that happens is if he tries to enter the turret from sort of like above the turret, he's not actually going to be able to get into it. He's going to get stuck. I assume the developers didn't think that there would be a situation where that would be happening, and so that they didn't test it, and he gets stuck. Unfortunately, the reason the developers didn't think that would happen is because it's really difficult and luck-based to get him into that kind of position. We need to, first of all, we need his HP to be at like a perfect place to even set it up. But once his HP is in that place, we need him to do his dash attack, and we need to guard that and then counter it on his way back, because it's a two-part dash, and that will put him in the air. But there's a lot of variables to this. First of all, you need him to do the dash. That's completely luck-based. You can't bait it out in any kind of way. But not only that, you need your HP, his HP to be correct as well. But not only that, your positioning matters a lot too. Just because you set everything up right, if he is dashing at you from the wrong angle, you're not going to get this. So, I don't know, let's dive in. The first part of this is not too difficult. We are very lucky in the sense that we can just put ignites on him. I think if I'm remembering correctly, it's 4 ignites. And we just wait for these to expire and then fire off the next one, just like that. In a little bit of a dangerous situation now, but that's okay. And we have to do one more. And now we're there it is. And that's exactly what we want to see. That was an amazing Sparky. Now we can just finish him off with commands. And there you go. Word of warning, you really don't want to hit Sparky with many physical hits once he is stuck, because he can get unstuck. Even that surge that I did at the end of the fight, which I always do, but nevertheless, even that surge is a little bit risky. You really don't want to have a successful gunless fight and then have Sparky go back and get unstuck at the very last second. It's a terrible feeling. It really is. All right, moving on to OC. So we're going to start out with a force fight here. I did the end of that Sparky fight in a very specific way, such that I would be queued up on the second magnet in my deck. One of the fun things about this route is that this fight is now... it's just a lot cleaner than it used to be. We only have to go into Aqua D-Link twice, as opposed to, I think we used to have to do it 3 times. And we don't need to do magnet hit thunders the way we used to for extra command points. We now just need to do magnet thunders. I will do a magnet hit thunder in the last wave, but that has more to do with damage than it does with command point grinding. So this one is pretty easy. It's very fun once you're good at it. I have been messing this up lately, so hopefully that won't happen right now, but here goes nothing. Alright, dash, magnet, thunder, and then right into awkward D-Link. Magnet, thunder, pick these up on your way over to the next wave. Magnet, that's not quite the positioning I wanted that to happen in, but it should be okay. And thunder. Nice. Generally speaking, in that fight, you want to have a soft target on the centermost enemy in a wave, just because it positions you the best. On that last wave, you also want to be pretty quick about getting your magnet off. You want it in the air before the wave even spawns, because your previous magnet is still going to be active, and it can pull some of the enemies from that wave into it, and thus put them in a place where they're not going to get pulled into your last magnet. So that's something to watch out for. I guess just review the tape, review the video to check the exact position that you want to be in for that last magnet. But it's consistent. Everything there is very, 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 very consistent. All right, heading into 10 rounds. This is pretty simple stuff. Mostly magnet thunder strats, but there's a couple surprises in here too. But start off magnet, hit, thunder. This wave I like to do magnet, thunder, thunder surge, and make sure you've got a blue target on the bruiser. If when you go for the target it ends up on the other guy, just target switch. And 2 thunders for this wave. The way I handled this one is magnet, ignite, and then thunder surge. And sometimes he'll have a little bit of health after the thunder surge, and you can just pop off another magnet in that situation. You want to see fleeting crystal drops from these guys. We got one, so that's very good. This round can be tricky. You probably want to put a blue target on the middle guy just to be sure, because your magnet can end up in a place you don't want it to end up in otherwise. The rest of this is very easy. 2 thunders for this wave. A pulsing crystal. I think we have like 4 of those at this point. There's another chance to get fleeting crystals from the hourglasses. This is very good fleeting crystal luck this run. I would love to see something like this in actual attempts. Finally, this last wave, we're going to just kind of slide diagonally to the right, fire off a magnet, and then just sort of stand in the middle of the remaining jellies and fire off another magnet. These guys can rush you very quickly, and if that happens, your first magnet will be canceled, but your second one won't. So just fire off that magnet and then use thunders for the rest of the wave. Yeah, that's what I mean. I did not do what I just said to do, but it worked out anyway. Alrighty, here we're going to sell a bunch of things. We've got this Fura that we picked up. We can sell all of our Thunder Magic. We can sell the Magnera that doesn't have an attack haste. So this one. What we need... I forget the exact amount. It's something around 3,200. So we're fine there, but if we didn't get that Thundara drop, which we got in combat, we would be in a little bit of trouble here. So there is a little bit of a reliance on drops. Again, I mentioned that you can pick up the Fira to make things a little bit safer for yourself, but this is... You might lose your run here, so fair warning. Now we're going to buy 2 Fire Dashes, 2 Thunder Surges, 2 Air Auroras, and a block. And I'm going to meld the Asuna and the block. We picked up that Asuna back in Radiant Garden. We're going to put a Fleeting Crystal on this. That's going to give us an attack haste. And then the deck here is 2 Auroras, 3 Thunder Surges, the Ignite Stay, and the Magnera. Make sure it's the one with the attack haste. Sometimes you don't have to sell the other Magnera, so if you have both of those, just make sure you're putting the correct one in. Then I'm going to put on Renewal Block and Sonic Impact, and finally Dark Volley is going to replace my Shot Lock. Alright, so headed into Zac. The first fight here is really, really easy. If you're familiar with the old route, this is actually one of the only places where things are much, much easier. We just have a much better deck for this than we did in the old route. It's pretty consistent. You can do the same thing every time, and he'll never have a chance to attack you. So I'm just gonna go for it here. I'll call out what I'm doing as I do it. Ignite, 2 surges, 1, 2. One thing to note, obviously igniting him is a huge amount of the damage that we're doing during this fight, but one thing that I discovered really recently is that the stun status effect, which enemies can be put into when you surge into them, Zac included, actually negates the ignite status effect if the ignite status effect hasn't like completed its damage output, and you will lose the rest of that damage output. That has not been a problem for me at any point. We are racing against the clock a little bit in the second part of this fight, but I don't know, just something to make people aware of, I guess. Ignite, he'll jump away, surge. Now I do hit, arrow. Ignite, 1, 2, 3, Thunder Surge. Ignite, Thunder Surge, Thunder Surge. Ignite, get close to him, do the finisher. Dodge back, Ignite, Surge. And here you're just doing as many surges as you need, hoping to end the fight with an Ignite queued up. That's actually really important. We need to fire off an Ignite right at the beginning of this next fight. It's super, super important. I guess it's time to talk about this. So, Zac 2. You might have noticed that we didn't pick up Flame Salvo earlier, and that, you know, we're not wearing it, obviously. That is because we have a new strat here for Zac 2 that actually involves dodging the DM. Now, the good news is, if you do the strat right, you're only going to have to dodge the DM one time. There's a very specific script of commands that you're going to see me do that, for whatever reason, we honestly have no idea why, but for whatever reason, it just, he can't DM when you do that sequence of commands. But right at the beginning of the fight, you do have to dodge the DM. So, just a couple words on that, I guess. It's going to be 3 dashes, and then after the 3rd dash, you want to hold for, I don't know, like half a second, and then surge. You'll likely get hit by the last part of the DM, but as long as you're at full health, that won't matter. You will go into critical health, but there's no reason that you should get hit again for the rest of the fight, so that's an okay place to be in. On the first dash that you're gonna do to dodge the DM, you wanna do that as late as humanly possible. This is very difficult. It takes a lot of practice. There's really nothing to react to. You just have to know the timing. Yeah, it's tough. but here goes. Right at the beginning, we're going to put an Ignite on him. And then queue up this specific Thunder Surge. 1, 2, 3, Surge. Just like that. Alright, so now we're going to wait for him to recover. We need, we're going to do 2 Surges after that. Also, hopefully, I didn't call it out, but after I dodged away from the end of the DM, I did put an Ignite on him. Also, beware that, like, purple mist you see around him at the end of the DM. That has a lingering hitbox, and it's there's a lot more, there's a lot, the hitbox there is a lot larger than it looks, so just keep your distance, I guess is what I'm saying. That's a terrible way to die, to have successfully dodged the DM, but then just be too close to the purple mist, or the purple smoke, or whatever. So once he recovers, we're gonna do Surge, he'll always jump there. Ignite. 1, 2, 3, 1, Ignite. And we're doing those hits really, really slowly. It's pretty common for him to jump at this point. You'll see him do that unless any of your surges put him into a stun state. What we're going to do next is we're going to do another 1, 2, 3 hit, and then a Thunder Surge. So 1, 2, 3, Surge. And you want to be as tight on these surges as possible. You want to be hitting him with all of the surges hitboxes. And just wrap it up with a Thunder Surge. That was actually a very efficient fight, very quick. But it's very difficult stuff. I know I did it pretty quick. I didn't want to be pausing a ton during that, just because it's such a tight window to do all of that stuff. So you can watch the footage. You can also watch my PB. You can watch Pessa's PB. I think Texas Grandma covers this fight in her tutorial as well, so you can check that out. This is tough stuff, but if you don't want to do this, you can always just pick up Flame Salvo. The rest of the route doesn't really change. Obviously, just put the Flame Salvo in your deck right before Trinity when you're doing all that other menuing stuff. And you can just do the old loop. It's not, this saves, I think, 10, 11 seconds, something like that. But it is really cool. So, keep that in mind, I guess. All right, I think this is where I'm going to wrap up part 2. Thanks again for joining, and stay tuned for the final part of the Terra Crit World Record Route tutorial.